Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? Hey, I hope you can hear me. This is it. We're live. I have all the gear to do this now, so hopefully you can actually hear me and see me at this moment. Bonjour. All right, I can see myself now. Hooray, I'm actually on the screen. Oh, I will totally sign your breasts. All right, so what are we doing here today? We are going to be doing a piece of Ash live from now on. So one of the reasons you guys haven't seen a piece of Ash in ages and ages is because I wasn't really happy with how it was going. I wasn't like a huge fan of the sitting and talking to myself format, and so it got hard to do. Then it got not fun to do, and then it got to the point where like I didn't really know what the show was anymore. It wasn't interactive. I didn't feel like it was actually helping me connect with people, and I just wasn't happy with it. So one of the things I've been wanting to do for a long time is live streaming, and me. So when I'm live streaming, I want to do things right, and that meant using a high quality production camera so you guys could see it in high res. Having a high quality mic, and that meant a lot of equipment costs. So things like when you have a MacBook, you don't necessarily have a capture card that can do this, that's outside of the one that's on your regular FaceTime camera on your laptop. So I had to go and buy a Blackmagic shuttle bus for shuttling the HDMI from my camera into the. It's all technical crap, but it's all done now. I have all the stuff I need. I've collected all the components and stuff. And I'm able to do this live. So what are the benefits of doing this way versus sitting and doing it the way I used to do it? Well, I think the biggest one is I can do this more regularly because I can always grab an hour and a half, set this up in my living room. As you guys can see, we're in my living room right now. We're not in the studio. This is something we're doing during the day. Like, it's not even dark outside. Like, normally it's like nighttime when I'm doing this, but we're in my living room at home. My kids are napping. And like I guarantee at some point one of them's gonna run in here. It's gonna be like that poor guy who's on the BBC and like his kids just like crashing in the room. My daughter's just gonna come running in here with no pants on, probably, or something like that. But yeah, no. So I can do this more regularly. So what I'd like to do, I mean, I'm gonna shoot to keep doing it monthly, but really what I'd like to do is eventually have this down to like a weekly format where I can actually like talk to you guys once a week maybe. And do this a little more sort of like directly and, like ready to, I guess ready to connect with you guys sort of like on a more regular basis. It also means I can do this kind of thing for my patrons and Patreon. And so what I'll probably start doing is I'll do one live show, a month that's on the YouTube channel, and then one private live show a month for the patrons as well. Just as like an additional thing, like a backstage one that people can look at. And so that's kind of where my head's at with doing the live shows right now, and being able to look at the chat. Now, of course, there's still a slight delay. Like, there's always a slight delay with these things. So like when I look at the chat, it's not like instantaneous. And I do still want to do like if I use the chat for the questions, it would just be like mayhem and chaos. Like I'd be overwhelmed. Like people would get their questions missed all the time. So I'm still going to use SurveyMonkey. And you'll see SurveyMonkey is in the description below so that you guys can get your questions into me. I'm going to go through the questions just to get us started and give us like talking points. I'm going to use the questions from the last sort of like not live piece of Ash to get us started asking stuff, and that'll be where we jump off from basically. And then you guys can get questions in for the next piece of Ash, which will be, and I'll only do the live ones on YouTube. So like if you ask me a question in the SurveyMonkey off of the YouTube channel, those questions will get answered on the YouTube channel, and I'll do a separate one for the Patreon one where it's basically, if you're asking me a question on YouTube, it's not getting answered on Patreon and you're missing it. So some people might see both, but like I don't want someone to not ever see their question get answered because of that. And like always, I don't know if I'll get through all of them, because obviously there's always going to be more questions than I have time for. But I'm going to do my best to take a stab at it and jump off. So I am going to do a little bit of like live stuff for a second. Oh yeah, there's Mike. Yeah, naked live show. No, we're not doing that. So far, those of us who are not in the same time zone, we keep away sending questions in advance. I just answered that. When do you get that format? Will it be scheduled times? Yeah, it's going to get scheduled. So like you'll get lots of warning when the shows are going to go off. And I'll make sure that like you guys can have like a chance. Like it should be regularly scheduled. Like what I'd like to do is say, I don't know, every Tuesday from 2 till 3:30 or something like that. I'm gonna try and run them 90 minutes because that way we have a good amount of time to like answer questions. But like my kids might just wake up and go in the middle of this thing, like just appear, right? So like, who knows what's gonna happen? It's all live, it's all unscripted. But yeah, I know for you guys in other time zones, you'll know generally when it's gonna be. I haven't picked a day yet, but it'll probably be Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm just gonna say Tuesday or Wednesday probably, because that way I've got time in between to do things like that. Ben, get a shout out to Ben. I played Bushido with Ben 2 weeks ago. Live butt stuff from Mr. Porklow. Good stuff. You know, we're doing great. No, Mike, you're just totally fucking minutes. I like that Mike jumps on here. He's clearly at work right now because I know Mike. You've seen it in my videos. He's clearly at work right now, and he's just stopped work long enough to shit up this live show. Zach, Paint Mini is waiting for me at Expo. Hope you're ready to rematch all that with. Yeah, buddy. You can't parry. You can't parry like you did. Can't parry flamethrowers either. Yeah. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Taking it in the ash. Oh my god! I like that instantly. Like this is the first time I've ever done a live show, and you guys have instantly just shown me the dark of YouTube. Like it's not stayed classy at all. Like it's off the rails already. So I'm gonna jump into some questions. I'm actually gonna do some hobbying. I'm gonna do this. It'll be just like a piece of ash. I'm gonna do some hobbying stuff too. The guys at Guild Ball were nice enough to send along Veteran Brisket for my my union team, which I'm super excited to build and paint. So I'm gonna build her. While I do this, I'm gonna do some giveaways too. And the giveaways, the easiest way to do that is always the comments. So like, I'll tell you what I'm giving away later on. But if you guys just look at the video and go in the comments and say, I guess comment for whatever the thing is that you're excited about, I'll show them as we go through this. You guys can get some free stuff because this is 30,000 subscribers somehow. In what month are we? We're in May. 23 months. So 23 months, 30,000 subscribers. That's over like 1,200 a month or something like that, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, from not knowing about really anything about YouTube 2.5 to 3 years ago to, under 2 years later. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. The YouTube channel is just slightly younger than my son. It's about 4 months younger than my son, so I keep track of the age of the YouTube channel just by... Actually, sorry, the YouTube channel helps me keep track of how old my kid is. Actually, Lords of War Games and Hobbies, the store, helps me keep track of how young my game or how old my son is, because he was born the night of the day they opened during a giant snowstorm, because does everything the hard way. So yeah, I'm gonna build this. Also, the guys at GCC Studios, Owen actually will put some pictures of this probably up on his Facebook page right now. They sent along. They were super happy with the last round of Bushido videos we did, so they sent some stuff for Owen's Cult of Yurei and some stuff for my Ito clan too. So if I get done building her in a minute, I'm gonna start building some more Ito guys too, some samurai stuff. I'm gonna do the Lords of Izu. It's a theme. So when you play Bushido, there's theme forces, which are like it's kind of like the formations in 40k, but they don't usually have a cost. There's like no cost associated. You just get restricted to certain models. So there's an all samurai one, which is the Lords of Izu for the Ito clan, and I was super stoked about that because it's like mostly because I'm dumb and it's less to manage. Like samurais just put swords into things, and that's usually the way they play. So I'm not so worried about having to learn all the crazy Blood of Orochi rules and stuff. So I'm gonna be painting a whole bunch of snake samurais and add those as well. So yeah, I'm gonna look at the chat again for a second, and we're gonna start answering some questions. It's not that hard, dude. That PewDiePie. Oh, Mike, you're the best. Oh my God, we're live. 30,006. Dice must flow. There we go. We're doing great. Oh, is Chris here? Oh, he told me he's gonna come here. It should be called a hot piece of ash. So Chris from Way of the Brust, Chris Bello versus War Gaming. If you guys don't know who he is. I challenged him to come here and start putting his stickers on things. He started a Project Mayhem. Go check out his Facebook page because he's posting some hilarious photos of his own personal Project Mayhem. He must have read some Chuck Palahniuk books recently, and he's all excited about what is it? Social agitation. So yeah, it's good. So I got my coffee. I'm ready to go. I got my Nalgene full of water, so I'm ready to go. So I can talk for a while. And I gotta say, this is just like way more comfortable than doing it in the studio too, because I literally have like everything I need in front of me. I'm not sitting on like a stool. I'm in my living room. So yeah, so let's jump in and answer some questions. Let's do what we gotta do here. Oh, I gotta scroll down now. This chat's going like way too fast for me. Can I do strategy or understanding Guild Ball factions? Dude, if you want strategy for games, you are in the wrong place. I am not smart enough for any of that stuff. Alright, let's analyze some results from the last Survey Monkey and jump in and answer some questions. And what I'll probably do is do like 4 or 5 questions, then jump back to the chat so you guys can talk to me and stuff like that. Maybe like 2 or 3 questions. So first question, if Canada Post had to adopt an animal for their mailman to ride, the animal would replace trucks. What would they have? And who asked me this question? Leg day every day. That's leg day every day. What animal would they ride? And they would replace the trucks. What should they have? I mean, like, the obvious answer is some kind of like big destrier horse that's big enough to carry mail and also get through Canada in all the hard places to go in Canada. The cooler answer would be like a pack of trained beavers that pull some kind of sled. There you go. Weird question, weird answer. Uzul asks, any plans for muskets and tomahawks in 2017? Same questions for bolt action. I don't know if I'm going to do bolt action. I do have Conflict 47 that I do want to get to. My buddy Jay, who you've seen me do Legends of the Old West and stuff with, has a bunch of bolt action / Conflict 47 stuff that he wants to do. And so, I mean, it's like everything. Usually the problem with games like that is I can build a bolt action or conflict army, or I can try like 3 other games. You know what I mean? So like, I think it's like platoon size where I do like 40 or 50 models. It takes a lot longer to get that done. And it's also a lot harder to find opponents that have painted armies, or even just opponents, like period usually. I mean, that's the first challenge, usually finding opponents. And then like when it requires 40 or 50 models like to play a game, and even just to play like the basic size game, that slows down getting to play it because it's just a big challenge. Like, so muskets and tomahawks, maybe. I have all the rule books for it. I have like a native force. I think I have a Métis force as well, actually, for it. And for the most part, we could probably co-opt a lot of my. It's not quite colonial, but I have some. Actually, I think I have some colonial buildings too that we could co-opt into it from doing the cowboy game. But like, I just don't know. I'm more likely, if it was by that studio, I'd more likely be doing something for Saga right now, because I do know there's people around here with Saga armies, and I have a Saga Yorm's Viking force that I haven't painted yet. That I would, as soon as someone said, like, the best way to do it is someone says, hey, I have a painted army, I'm gonna come play you on day. Then that usually starts to like, okay, I have 8 weeks to paint a Saga army. I start painting, like, I'll chip away and I'll do like 5 models a week or something like that, or like 4 models a week. I'll insert into my other projects like that to get it done. So that answers your question. Like, I do like battalion level games, but from the point of view of like, there's so many games out there and there's so many games in the queue right now to try. If, you know, Jay and I are right now working on 2 different games to try out. It's another Old West game called Shoot and Skedaddle, which is like a card-based Old West game that looks really neat. It's like a convention style game with like cards and stuff. And then the other one is Rumble Slam. He picked up the Rumble Slam starter, and I've got the Rumble Slam starter now. And that's like 4 models to paint. So like we can play Rumble Slam by painting 4 models each, or we can play Shoot and Skedaddle, you know, with the stuff we already have, because we already have like painted cowboy gangs basically. But then like to get onto like a bigger game like Conflict, we're kind of chip away at it over time until we're ready to actually go and do it. Ed Markel asks, Space Hulk, 10 go in, but can you come back across the board with 10? How about 3 entry point to back to entry point? I'm not sure I understand the question. The answer is probably no. I'm not very good at Space Hulk. I don't have a lot of guys survive in Space Hulk. Owen seems to be better at Space Hulk than me. Mostly when we screw up the fact how jams in Overwatch work, command points, but like, yeah, there it is. I'll look back in the chat and see what you guys are talking about. I love Saga. Keep rewatching. This is not test battle reports. Yeah, there's gonna be more TNT. With TNT, a big thing that like drives like TNT and all those indie games like Frostgrave and stuff like that is when the guys do new books, like when Joey does a new book or just does a new book or a new expansion or something like that. What happens usually is my friends that we play TNT with, we get that scenario set or whatever, we make stuff to play it, and then we take our warbands and we go through it. So like for me, when we did Swineland, that was me and Jay getting the hardcover rulebook with all the expanded and new rules in it and going, cool, awesome, let's do a little narrative with this. And then so when something new comes out, we typically pick it up and we go and we give it a go and we come back to those games. So if you kind of want to understand the tempo of like how that works, new things typically for the indie games will be what drives us to like go back to our collections and expand them and play them more. Because like we're all over the place, right? We're playing all kinds of different games. You ever seen Learn to Play videos? Well, Doom Rider, if you watch my Let's Play series, those are usually games where we are figuring out how to play and learning how to play. And so if you go through that playlist, there's like almost 30 games in there now, I think. You can generally get a good idea of how to play. I'm actually doing 2 Let's Plays this weekend when I'm at Cool Mini Aeronaut Expo. I'm going to grab Dave and Brian, and we're going to do Let's Plays for Wrath of Kings and for Dark Age, because the new 2017 Master Rules for Dark Age have come out. And so we're going to do a basic how to play, but we're also going to insert a little bit of like, here's what's changed, you know, like roundup as well for the veteran players. And then for Wrath of Kings, it's just going to be a straight up like, here's how you play the game. Yeah. How do you feel with the change for 8th edition feel? I'm excited. It's going to be cool. I mean, I'll be honest, like, again, with 40k, same answer as the bolt action stuff. Like, I can build one 40k army, or I can try 10 new games. So, are you going to see me, like, dive into the new 40k and, like, build whole new armies and stuff and just play 40k? Well, if I did that, the channel would just be nothing but 40k. So, I'm excited to try it. You know, I'll probably build some little army. It'll be like Age of Sigmar. You know, like, I built one 2,000 point army right now for Age of Sigmar, which is my Stormcast. People hate it because everybody apparently plays Stormcast. So, I don't play a lot of Age of Sigmar all the time. I'm working on a Khorne army. Again, people hate it because it's in the starter set, but, like, I'm super excited to paint Khorne. But I don't really enjoy playing huge games, and with huge models, I'm more into like the smaller stuff. So I'm excited about Shadespire. I think that's gonna be cool. I'll probably play lots of Shadespire. That sounds like my jam. And I love Gore Chosen, and I love it. I'm super excited about 8th edition. But like again, 8th edition looks like it's designed to let you play with huge models and huge armies at the same time, or scale back and play skirmish games. If I do play lots of it, it'll probably be in like whatever the small scale skirmish thing is. What I'm really excited about right now is the Age of Sigmar skirmish. That was spoiled in White Dwarf. That looks cool. That's probably going to be the way you see me play Age of Sigmar in the future. Do I play Talisman? Yeah, I got Talisman. I have actually all the editions. I have 1st edition Talisman in a box somewhere. What else? How did I do my Dark Age tournament? Well, it's next weekend, so I haven't yet. What tourist activities you're looking forward to when you visit the UK? Well, I don't know if I'm visiting the UK yet. That's still up in the air. If enough people don't sign up for the tour, it doesn't go. So it's about a week left, 2 weeks left-ish. I think 20th is when the cutoff is for that tour. So I may or may not be in the UK, depending upon whether or not the tour actually goes or not. So we'll have to see. I did promise Imperial Guard, yeah, man, and I will totally play Imperial Guard. Like, I'm stoked to paint my Imperial Guard. What I need to do at some point is, when the year refreshes, is do a spring cleaning of the studio and get rid of a bunch of armies, because it's like hard to get rid of armies now because everybody's selling armies, but I just don't have enough room. I need the carrying cases back to put new armies in, so I'll probably dump a bunch of stuff. Is my wife supporting my channel? No, Jacob. Actually, my wife doesn't do any supporting the channel. The channel actually supports us. Patreon is what supports everything. So it supports the studio, and it supports paying all my bills. my wife and I do everything 50-50. So I'm actually contributing from home the same amount she's contributing by working, which is the amazing thing about this channel and what we're doing. It's actually paying the bills. Yes, the command point thing. Well, I mean, you can't say, sorry, Trajanus227. I need to actually start saying these questions out loud, because I just realized that in the future, when you guys see this recorded, you're not going to know what I'm answering. So, are the command point things in the new 40k spoilers taken from Space Hulk? Probably yes and no. There was command points in other games too. But it's the first instance I can think of where command points got used is probably early Space Hulk. The name at least probably got taken from Space Hulk, although Richard Hallowell wrote Space Hulk, and that's a long time ago. That's not recent. So like, it's not the same designers at all. All right, let's grab some more questions from this. Would you ever consider doing a larger This Is Not a Test campaign with more than 2 players? If so, would you try a new warband? Well, I always try new warbands when we start new campaigns. And we have had more than 2 players in the campaign. The problem is, so here's the thing with warband games. Unless I do an open campaign in which there isn't really an overarching narrative, usually what happens for campaign games is lots of different people come in at different times. And like, let's say you're, Johnny, and you flew over here from the UK, and you're in town for a week, and you're going to come and play a game, like a day of games with me. What's more exciting for you? Is it playing one game in a narrative that you're not really a part of in one game system? or is it making a little story and then playing a couple games over the course of a day? Because most warband games, you can fit in like 2 or 3 games in a day. And so for the guests that come in, that's what I want to do, is I want them to have a really fun experience. And so what we usually do is I'll either start a new warband or pick up one that's relatively inexperienced if they have a new warband. And then we'll play a series of like 2 or 3 games where we let the story kind of like tell itself and develop. And that's why when you watch things like This Is Not Testing Frostgrave, if you see a bunch of games in a row and playing the same person, there's always like a little story that comes out of it and stuff. It's because I want them to have a good time, right? If you're coming to visit me and you come all the way down to like, you know, the Niagara region to come play games with us, you should have a memorable day. Like, that's, you guys are putting food on my table just by coming in. Like, just the videos that I don't get paid unless videos get made, and so people coming in are helping me to pay everything you see here, right? From my house and power and the studio and internet connection and my kids eating and diapers and all that stuff. So part of that is I want to make sure they have a good time. And so having like a multiplayer campaign with an overarching narrative, we can't be that organized because stuff just fills up the way it fills up. And so what tends to happen is you get these little short narratives that are like 2 or 3 games long, as opposed to like some big long narrative that's multi-games. What else? Favorite book? Which book or series do you find yourself going back to reread more than any other? I'm rereading The Gunslinger right now, one of my favorite series of all time, and there's a movie coming out in August that looks like there's people that are putting all flack into it, but if it is what I think it is, which is actually a sequel to all the books, it is going to be brilliant. It's going to be super cool. I'm really excited about it, and it's one of my favorite. I mean, what's interesting with The Gunslinger, it was written over the course of my life. I think he wrote the first one almost right after he wrote his second or third book. He wrote a really early draft of it too, that was like a lot shorter, really early on. And so it's been written since like the late 70s. So it's basically been written over the course of my life. And what's interesting is seeing it change as he changes and writes it. And Stephen King's one of my favorite writers, and did an excellent book on writing called On Writing. That's like a touchstone for me for writing in general and just making things in general. And so I read that one pretty religiously. Probably every couple of years I'll plow through the whole series again. I'm right now back on Wizard and Glass, which is the 4th book out of the 7. I think it's Win the Keyhole, Song of Suzanne, and the Wolves of Calla. And then the Dark Tower. No, there isn't like an actual The Dark Tower, I don't think. I think it's the Wolves of Calla is the last one. So yeah, it should be 7 books. And then there's a short story too. No, Win the Keyhole is a short story. I can't remember. There's 7 books, but there's an 8th one which is like out of time. It's like Roland telling stories about his life and stuff like that. Hey Ash, did you ever read the rules for Warthrone by Avatars of War? So what'd you think? No, I never actually looked at them. I know it exists, but I haven't actually looked at it. Oh my god. Why don't you film battle reports between 2 other people? As with so many games, you have some static lists for some games. Well, that's just timing. Like, you're not really going to be able to get other people in, right? Like, I think the quantity of stuff I put out sometimes confuses people, and they think that there's more people around playing games than there actually are. Like, I don't have like a million people that I can just be like, hey, I need some games filmed. Come in here and come play games. I'm filming with whoever wants to come in whenever they can. And I'm super lucky to have Owen in the studio, and for us to have like a regular gaming night where we come and film some games and just get together and hang out and shoot the shit. Because if it was just me by myself, it'd be a real challenge. Like, and we help each other out and support each other by being in each other's games. So yeah, no, like that's having more than one person in is a super rare occurrence. And when it happens, I do usually film games between them too. So like I actually filmed some Bushido games recently between 2 people that came in and we're playing Bushido. I'll be filming this in June. I'll be filming some Malifaux games like that. There's gonna be like 3 people coming in and play Malifaux, and I'll probably try and play a couple, like one against each of them, and then maybe wrap around 2. Yeah, so like, and then like the other half is like static lists. It's one, I think people don't like. I think there's an assumption that because I put out as much stuff as I do, that like there's like an unlimited budget and time amount for making armies. And people complain that I play like the same Warhammer Fantasy lists all the time, or I play the same 40k lists all the time, and it's like, what? Like, it's just me. It's just me by myself. Like, how am I possibly going to do any more than I do? But I realize that people can't see that. They don't know, like, from what I put out, I think people have this like false idea that there's like a whole production studio of people that are here making stuff. And also that's true in other areas. Like, you know, like if it was, Mini Wargaming or Beast of War or something like that, there's like 4 or 5 people that, you know, we want something made. Okay, well then just get him to make it. And that guy in the background that you never see in the video spends 2 or 3 days making whatever they need. And the guy that's in the video doesn't have to worry about that stuff. Like he's having it all terrain made. Oh, we need a table full of whatever terrain. Okay, well someone will make it for us. We need an army for blah. Okay, well we'll either buy it or someone will make it for us. Like it's not. He doesn't go home to his kids and then try and find time like to paint 3 miniatures to play a game next week, which is kind of my thing. I have to do that because there ain't nobody else. Was that line that was a movie from Zulu? Why's it got to be us, sir? Because we're here and nobody else. I just realized that I've been talking for like half an hour and I haven't actually even touched brisket, so I'm going to start clipping her and putting her apart. So let's look at the chat. How does Clarence get his head so smooth? Toby, that's a question for Clarence. That sounds really personal. I assume something to do with beeswax and a really sharp piece of broken glass. I don't know if that's true or not. D6 Damager, what changed your mind about going to gaming conventions? I didn't change my mind about going to gaming conventions, actually. I'm going to work. I don't really go to them personally for pleasure. And it's funny that you mentioned that because I think I explained that when I talked about gaming conventions originally. My thing with gaming conventions is I've been to so many of them for work that they're not necessarily fun, right? Like I equate Gen Con with pain, with like loading and unloading things, and like games days and all that stuff. To me it just reminds me of work, and so I don't necessarily go to hang out. But I think the difference is for a guy like me, I spend so much time in the hobby in real life, and people go to gaming conventions as like an escape to go and spend time in a hobby that they enjoy when they spend most of their real life, you know, in a desk or a job or something like that has nothing to do with the hobby that they're attached to. So it's funny. For me, my vacation time would be spent doing things that aren't to do with the hobby, whereas for people that, you know, their 9 to 5 isn't something like what I do, it would be the opposite. So I haven't really changed my mind at all. The difference was I was helping run events for Frostgrave when I went to Adepticon, and this time around I'm helping doing coverage. I'm a media guest for Cool Mean or Not Expo, and so it's not like I'm going just to like walk around and entertain myself. I'll be working the whole time. So the idea for Cool Mean Expo is that I'll be making Let's Plays for you guys to watch, recording the games from Immortals, because the Immortals tournament, I'm going to record all my games, and they're probably not going to go up in the usual format. I'm going to try and release them as fast as I can. So I'm going to play a game, I'm going to edit as fast as I can between rounds if I can, and then run my laptop in my room to push it live so you guys can just watch them like bing, bang, boom, and then the Immortals tournament itself as well. Apparently there's no way to get internet. So it's like in the lower level. So even the people that like are streaming, like I think Beast of War will probably be there, and they usually have like a wireless connection for doing like live streaming and stuff like that. May not be able to actually do it without going upstairs because it's just like you're surrounded by concrete and stuff. So you won't be able to do it live, but it's going to be as close to live as possible. And I'll probably do is I'll have a hard line in my room because I'm staying at the same height that the actual convention's, and I can go upstairs and then plug my laptop in and do this exact same thing. So you'll see me just doing this, like, and then we could potentially, if I can find someone who has like a 4x4 piece of like wood, we can throw on the bed. We could actually stream games from my hotel room, which I'll happily do. I'll get Dave and Brian to come like stream a game in my hotel room or something like that, so we can like chat and do whatever. I hope that made sense. Something confrontation. Do I have plans for more confrontation battle reps? The problem with confrontation is I have 3 confrontation armies painted. I know people like confrontation armies, but like no one's jazzed to come play confrontation with me, I guess. Like there's this initial like bubble of like, oh yeah, let's go look at our miniatures. But then like I end up roping Owen into playing it with me, as is tradition. So I want to say yes, and what I'm really hoping happens is, having put that video out now, someone goes, holy crap, he plays Confrontation, and then just dusts their collection off and comes and plays me, because that'll be how more videos get made. But like A1, I will play Confrontation with anybody that wants to come and play Confrontation, because I got all my armies, they're all painted, like I'm ready to rock and roll whenever someone wants to come in. What else? What does your typical schedule look like? Do you work on your channel during the day? Yeah, so I'm a stay-at-home dad. Like, you are where I spend most of my day right now. Like, this is my living room. This is where I spend most of my day with my kids. this table that I'm sitting at is my dining room table right now. So this is usually covered with toys and drawing and stuff. My typical day is I get up, I post content usually in the morning, so I spend like an hour. My kids eat breakfast, and I'm sitting on my laptop, posting the content for that day, having a quick like read through all my emails, my messages I got overnight, because like the internet never stops, right? Like the sun rotates around the earth, and when I'm sleeping, there's 8 hours of like the other side of the planet watching videos and posting. Like I wake up in the morning, there's like 300 notifications on my phone. So I pile through that for like an hour usually. It takes about an hour to like post my content in the morning and do that. My typical day is then like get the kids dressed, they've had breakfast, clean up, get ready to go to the gym. I have a great gym. It's a World's Gym down in Ontario. If there's randomly someone watching that's from the World Gym on Ontario Street, you guys are awesome. My kids love it because they have this wicked daycare. It's like $20 a month for your membership, and you get like this awesome daycare. The staff there are fantastic. The kids go and play with their kids. Then we come home, grab some lunch, go to the park, and then this happens. The kids nap, usually around like 1:30. The kids go down. And so when that is happening, that's why I can only do this like once a week, is I'm usually doing what I'm doing right now, like I'm supposed to be doing right now, which is getting stuff built, getting stuff painted. I try and paint like 1 to 2 models a day. So I either paint them during nap time or I paint them when my kids are in bed at night, like after 8 p.m. And the kids wake up usually around 2:30, 3 o'clock. We'll play, do kid stuff, do dad and kid stuff. And then it's dinner time, making dinner. And then it's all, if you have kids, you know how it is. It's like dinner time, playtime, naps, or bath time, and then like scrub them down, get them in their pajamas, get them in bed. Hopefully they go to sleep, fight with them for an hour while they go to sleep, and then rinse and repeat. And then it's my wife and I having whatever our free time is. It's either me painting somewhere or we're watching whatever's in the DVR, catch up on Netflix, catch up on like whatever bad TV we don't want to watch, having a glass of wine, chatting with friends. She also rows masters, so like she'll be at rowing. And then once a week on Wednesdays, usually I have a studio day with Owen, which is after work. So usually before the kids go to bed, I'm out of here at 7:30. My wife gets home, and I go and record for like 3-4 hours. I usually home around midnight, 11:30 midnight. And then the weekend, so my wife works usually Monday through Thursday. The weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I try and book 2 of those days to record into. And that's when I do the bulk of my recording. Usually I try and fill up those days, and people come and record with me. Sometimes it'll be weeknights. Like if I can sneak someone in, they want to come in on a weeknight, then I don't have to record on those days, and I can have more weekend days with my family. But that's usually it. So it's usually like, if I was to add up I do have like a full 40-hour work week doing this usually, because it's usually about 2 days a week on the weekends, a half shift, so it's like 4 hours a night on Wednesdays, and then that like 2 to 4 hour block of painting and hobbying and modeling and editing and whatever time that I'm doing while the kids are asleep or like napping or whatever that is. Well, that makes sense. My girlfriend asked me to go outside and grab a smoke, and I told her to hurry up because I wanted to get back to the live show, and she smirked. So funny. Squats, dude. I'm not making squats. Oh, dude, do you mean like at the gym squats? I don't know. How much time do I spend refreshing on rules to keep them all straight before filming? Well, that's an interesting question. People often ask me, like, how do I play so many games? I remember so many games. And I think it's because I worked for a workshop for so many years, because I was there for like 13, 14 years. New additions were like playing a new game. So, like, I was there through, it was 3rd edition 40K when I started working there, 3rd edition, because right after 2nd edition, because 3rd edition came out in 99. I think I was hired in 2000 or 2001. And so I was there from 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and then 7th came out right as I was leaving. Yeah. So that's that. I mean, 7. I was there for 5 editions of 40K basically, and they're all almost totally different games. I was there from 6th through 8th edition fantasy. So it's interesting. There's 5 editions of 40K and 3 editions of fantasy in the same amount of time. And then there's a gajillion different specialist games and little games and whatever. And at the same time, I'm playing other miniature games too. So like learning games and teaching people games is a big part of like working for a company like Workshop. And you're either doing that yourself, if you're in sales, like you're teaching people to play games, or you're teaching people to do that for other people. And so I think I just got good at it. I don't know. That's really it. Ash, better bad action movie, Demolition Man or True Lies? Oh, True Lies, for sure. Like, I like Demolition Man, don't get me wrong. It has actually probably the best Dennis Leary line of all time, which is we use these guns to go get groceries. But I love True Lies. I think I saw True Lies. I was okay. So true story, True Lies. I was working in Yellowknife when True Lies came out in a lab and doing like a sampling program. And I think I saw True Lies like 2 or 3 times in the theaters because it was like the only good movie that came out that summer. So I might have rose-colored glasses on True Lies simply because of the fact that like it was a movie that I watched many times while reading like Lobo comics in like the worst the like the like I don't want to say the worst. It's a great city, but like you know it's a small city, so like there's not a lot to do when you're like a teenager basically. One more from the chat, and then I'm going to jump back into the other questions. And will you play Void again one day? I was active on Mini Realms. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a form from a dog's age ago. I'll play Void if someone wants to come and play Void. Like I said, it's all built around what people want to come in and play, man. Like, I play whatever. That's so funny. But up to you. Lincoln Park all day, every day asks, from a design point of view, why the heck do the round jewels and those plastic Custody storm shields come separately? After you cut them off, they're so easy to drop and lose. I won't lie, I think I dropped and lost some of mine. I imagine a computer did that. It's funny, there's a big joke with Malifaux players right now called never trust a machine to design a miniature, and it's because like when a program decides where cuts should be on a model, you end up with like crazy cuts that make no sense and that make models like insanely difficult to put together. Excuse me. It's getting very polleny out, and so I'm sniffly. Yeah, no, it's like I call it the Yan Lo's beard factor. If you ever put together a Yan Lo for Malifaux, that would be why. Eureka asks, hey Ash, love the show. Have you seen the new Antenna Studies pre-painted scenery for Infinity? What do you think? I think I have looked at it. I think it was new probably when you guys asked this question. I haven't seen it in person, but it looks super cool. I love his cars and stuff. Like they have those great resin like bubble vehicles and stuff for Infinity. Pre-painted terrain though, I'm looking at it for Infinity right now. The Bandua stuff looks awesome. Bandua is actually I think sending me some of the new pre-painted stuff for Infinity to check out for the videos. And it looked really cool. And then there was this a new gaming mat tile set from MicroArts, which was 1 foot tiles. So it's kind of like the secret weapon bases, as opposed to being just a flat gaming mat. You had 1 inch or 1 foot tiles that you put together to make the city that you wanted, as opposed to having the roads like go wherever you want them to be. Which I think is smart because like I like those secret weapon tiles, but they're heavy and they're hard to store. A box full of neoprene tiles won't slip around and would definitely be I think just as effective. Like you can't change them around like they're going to be pre-painted, but then you can do whatever you want on them too, which would be really cool. Do one more, we'll go back to the chat. Jungo Returns asks, with the ramping up of Warhammer TV and incorporating more content, if GW contacted about providing content for them, would you leave GMG if that was part of the deal? Well, I own GMG, so I don't think I can actually leave it. I mean, maybe they could stop me from doing it. I don't think that they'd. So here's the thing: if you own a property, like if you're Games Workshop and you own Warhammer, and you're creating your own little like production studio for showing that stuff off, and you're just getting started, I think it's probably good for you to do some collaborations and like work with people. But you're gonna grow so fast. Like they have well over like let's just look. Let's see how many subscribers those guys have right now. The Warhammer TV on the YouTubes. Oh, I can do cool things like show you my screen if I was smart enough to know how to do that, but I don't know how to do that right now. Warhammer TV, here it is. So like just their subscribers, I mean they had like, I could probably pull them up on Social Blade. That'd be the best way to actually look at it. They have like 150,000 subscribers right now. So let's look at where they actually started to take off. So I go to Social Blade and I look at Warhammer TV. Let's see what we can see on Warhammer TV. There they are. So Warhammer TV has 150,000 subscribers, and if I look at their year trend, yeah, there it is. Okay, so in 2014, so let's just go back 3 years. In 2014, they had. Oh, I can't look at their totals though. I want to see their trends. I want to see how many they had total in like, yeah, back then. I can't really see. Total subs per month. So like they were getting like 2,000. Okay, so for between 2012 and 2016, they were getting about 2,000 subs a month. So if that's 36, they had about probably 60,000 subscribers in the first 3 years. And then in 2016, they changed everything they were doing. And in between July of 2016 and January of 2017, so in that 6-month period, they went from getting 3,000 subscribers a month to getting 7,000 subscribers a month. They have 150,000 subscribers right now, which means that their average like growth rate, which just continue. Yeah, they get for the last 30 days, they've had 7,400 subscribers. They're just gonna like exponentially explode. They're making usually when you look at the averages, they're making 138,000 a year, which is about half usually if you're actually in real revenue terms. They're making about 70,000 a year just off like the advertising revenue if they advertise, which they don't of course on their channel. They don't bother monetizing anything because they don't care about that. They just care about the views. They're going to be so much bigger than everyone else soon in like YouTube terms in just like the next year. So if they just keep up 70,000, they keep up 70,000 for the next 12 months. So let's look at how that works. 70,000 times 12, sorry, 7,300 times 12 months. They're going to have another 87,000 this year. So in 12 months, they'll have 87,000 more subscribers. Let's look at the next. Let's look at the biggest channel, which is Me Wargaming. So like, if you look at them, they've got 250,000 subscribers. They have 100,000 more subscribers, but they only get 3,500 a month. So in that same 12-month period, times so 12 times 3,500, they'll have 42,000 more. So like that gap in the next year is going to start swinging the other way. And because they're not really launching their channel anymore, they'll just be able to market directly to everybody because they're going to have like 250,000 subscribers next year at this time. So they're not going to care anymore. Like they wouldn't ask me to leave because they will be the most famous YouTubers for Games Workshop stuff in the next year, period. Everyone's gonna, I mean, and they already are, really. Like everyone knows who Duncan Rhodes is. Everyone knows who like the other two guys are. I obviously don't. I'm not a good example of this though because I literally don't watch anything on YouTube, so I don't really know. But yeah, like they're gonna grow so fast that like it's just not gonna even matter. What else? Have you considered trying premium board game design? Lumen King Death. I don't really care about board game design, to be honest with you. I love playing board games with my friends. I don't care about money from board games that much, and I hate Kickstarters because they don't help retailers. So I'm not super worried about board game design. I like board games though. I'm excited. I'm hopefully going to get to try out the new Silver Tower soon because there's somebody who wants to come in to play some Silver Tower. Do you know how packed your schedule is going to be when you're in the UK? I don't know when I'm going to be in the UK or if I'm going to be in the UK yet because I don't know if it's actually going to sell. So remember, this whole tour thing, guys, to me going to the UK, is based on having enough people to actually have the tour launch. So right now, I don't know what you'd have to contact Geek Nation Tours. I'm going if it's going, and I don't know if it's going yet. I'm having a real hard time here getting Brisket's arm to attach. This appears to be slightly miscast and not in the right shape. That's a pain in the butt. So let's look back to the chat. More Old West. Yeah, man, we'll be doing more Old West. Old West is just based, again, on how many people want to come in and play it. And I don't know if we'll be doing Old West, Legends of the Old West next. I'm definitely doing Shoot and Skedaddle next. So we can give it a go. But, like, I have all the terrain. And the thing that I'm super excited about is that Dracula's America. That's coming out from Osprey, which is basically like a horror Old West. It's what if Dracula became the President of the United States of America if you flood England. And like takes over the country, like around the time of the Civil War, or after the Civil War. So, yeah, no, I'm jazzed about that. I mean, and like literally, we have everything to do it, but it means that we can paint like crazy vampire cowboys and stuff like that too. So I'm stoked about that. Are we doing more Epic Armageddon? Any interest in the Horus Heresy Epic supplement? I'm excited for I would love to do more Epic. Again, like you're talking, like when you talk about these old miniature games. It's all going to come down to who can come in and play. My buddy Rod had been supposed to come down to play me like ages ago, and then we never did. He got busy. He had another kid, so he got super busy. Strike Zone Wotan? I don't even know what that is. Rune Wars? I'll be honest, and this is going to sound terrible, I don't have a lot of interest in Rune Wars because after seeing it get played, problem I have with it is all the junk on the table. There's like these command consoles. Like Owen has a copy, and we'll probably give it a go. But there's all this stuff on the table. There's like cardboard counters everywhere and wheels and dials and stuff. And that just doesn't do it for me. Like there's too much going on there. I don't know. It's just lots of stuff. Oh yeah, Chris, dude, I'm totally up for some bum darts. Let's do it. Anytime you want, bro. Just pick a night. Pick another week. Pick a weeknight, and that way we can do it. I'll come pick you up, and we'll play some whatevers. Yeah, I know. Like, I don't know. Like, the models look super cool for Rune Wars. Individually, I'm not sure how much I'm into like the models being sort of like repeated over and over again. The puzzle piece thing bugs me a little bit too, because there's like an immersion thing there that I think bothers me. Like when you look at the models and they kind of cookie cutter next to each other over and over again. So I'm not super sure. Oh, it's the narrative campaign for Infinity. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about now. It's the new Flame Strike. Yeah, we're doing Strikes on War 10. That'll happen. Just need the deets as per usual. Yeah, like so yeah, back to Rune Wars. I just don't know how into I am the idea of that game. It looks a lot like X-Wing for a rank and flank game, and I'm just not. I don't know. I'm not into the all the stuff on the table. It breaks the immersion for me. Doesn't Beast of... Have I considered doing North American version of Beast of War? Loving it while I live in Europe. The boot camp weekend was sweet, but I missed it when I moved back to the United States. No, not really. Like, I'm not like a news guy. Like, so here's what my channel is, and here's what my channel isn't. I don't do news and rumors. Tons of people do that already. Like, what's the point of... This is why I didn't do interviews at Adepticon. What's the point of me walking up to and shoving another camera in the face of those people? Like, there's enough people there already that are doing that all the news is already out there. Like, I don't need to go shove a camera in somebody's face. What I'd rather do at a thing like Adepticon is go talk to those people and meet them and just talk to them and hang out and talk to them about things, not about what they can do for my YouTube channel or like what soundbite I can get that's gonna give me some more hits, because there's a bajillion people out there doing it. I don't want to just do what everybody else does. And so being like Beast of War, there's only one Beast of War. Like, why would I try and be like them? So what my channel is actually doing the hobby. You know what I mean? So like, you guys get to see me like building collections of miniatures on the paint table, and following as I like check out boutique companies with Witches Wonders and stuff like that, and then just be a fly in the wall during games. So that's what the channel is, and I think anything I did that distracted me from that would make the channel not as good, because I have such a limited amount of time, it would just be me not firing on all cylinders in one direction and make everything else that I did a lesser effort. You know, like it's a lot of effort to every time we pick up a game, make sure that the terrain we have for it's appropriate, and make sure that like the miniatures are all relatively new and exciting. Like, I'm not just dusting off old collections and stuff. And so I don't really have any interest in news and rumors. Like, that's a thing that there's bajillions of people out there already doing. It's like the same with 40K. Like, I like playing 40K, and I'll totally play 40K with anyone that comes out. But like, chasing 40K as the most popular miniature game out there and making videos about 40K, that doesn't do anything. That just makes me another person doing 40K. You know what I mean? Whereas like, you guys following around my spastic sort of like love of just discovering new games is something nobody else does. So that makes me different and unique, and I'd rather be different and unique. Hope that makes sense. More videos, game design, making films. Miso. What does your wife do, please? I'd love to know. So my wife's a denturist. She makes prosthetics for the mouth. So partial and full dentures, implant caps, stuff like that. Like, that's what she does. She's a prosthetician for the mouth, which is awesome because she has to help a lot of people. She does out calls, so she'll go and help the people that like can't get into a clinic. Like the really elderly or people with like disabilities and stuff like that. And it's a lot of work and it's really hard on her, but she's really good at it. And when we came back to Canada after I left workshop, she'd basically been following me around for like 10 years chasing my career. So we decided that she should focus on hers. And that's why I stayed home and I'm with the kids and I'm making up sort of a job and a way to continue to contribute. And she's out building her career. So it was her turn. She got to go do it. Let's go switch over to Survey Monkey for a minute. Next up, Damage 13 asks, "Hey Ash, did you ever read the rules for?" Oh no, I got that one already. Does your love of dwarves come from your experience in the mining industry? Not really. My love of dwarves mostly comes from Tolkien. I had this amazing, fantastic version of The Hobbit that was a watercolor illustrated comic book when I was a kid, and I think that forever made me love dwarves. It was one of my favorite books. That and the completely completely childhood experience of reading the Dragonlance trilogy, the original Dragonlance saga, and when Flint dies from a heart attack, like halfway through, and you're a preteen or a young teenager, and you're just like, oh my god, he didn't die glorious in battle, he just died of a heart attack. that was the thing that made me love dwarves. Next up, GPN asks, "Why don't you film Battlers 2?" Oh my god, we're going the wrong way. I've been digging through old Necromunda accommodated models I painted in the 90s. Should I keep my old paint job as a reminder of my beginnings or strip them and do them justice? Oh, B. Grulax asked. I know who B. Grulax is. He's in the chat right now. Should you strip them? I think if there's a model you love that you feel like you didn't do justice to, you should strip them. But you should always keep a couple to remind you of where you came from. I have a few models I keep around from that era, specifically to remind me of where I came from as a painter. And I think that's an important thing. I would totally recommend that anybody who has an old collection of miniatures they go back to and they look at for the first time, even if they're still current enough that you can play a game with them, that getting rid of them wouldn't just be pointless because the game doesn't exist anymore or whatever. I would totally keep a couple that are as they are to remind yourself where you came from the painter. I think that's a fantastic thing to do, and I have a few just for that reason. Durgaz, any idea why there's no replacement for War Master? Oh, that's a good question. So here's the thing, and again, I only think that there's going to be a replacement for Epic because of the inverse of this reason, and you'll see why they're replacing it the way they are, I think, when I answer this question. So War Master was a 10 mil game, right? It took Warhammer, there's already a rank and flank, mass combat game, and basically dropped it down in scale so that you could play even bigger games with even more stuff, just like Epic did, and that was the whole point of Epic, right? Was play with the big things that you couldn't normally play with in a game where you couldn't really play with them. And remember, Epic was made during a time when there wasn't really the technology to produce some of the things they make now. So you couldn't really make a Baneblade back then because even probably the plastic casting machines that Workshop owned wouldn't be able to even cast sprues that big. It would be on 15 sprues as opposed to the 6 sprues I think it came on that were all big sprues. And so they'd be done in things like resin. And so what they did was, instead of making the table bigger to play bigger games, they made the model smaller. They shrank the models down to play these huge games of Epic. War Master was the same way. To play huge games of fantasy, make the miniature smaller instead of making the table bigger. But the problem with that is the same problem with things like Inquisitor. When they made Inquisitor and they made it in 54 mil, it didn't sell very well because it required everyone to completely jumpstart and restart their collections of everything from terrain to accessories. Everything got twice as big as 28 mil, so you had to just make everything again, and you couldn't use those models in your current collection. Whereas if it had been 28 mil, which you can see since Inquisitor came out and they stopped making the 54 millimeter models, people still play Inquisitor 28 mil. The INQ 28 groups on Facebook and social media and stuff are huge. People the ideas behind Inquisitor were fantastic, and if I was to bet dollars to donuts, if they had made Inquisitor in 28 millimeter, we'd probably still be playing it. Or at least the models would still be around in the collector's ranges and stuff, because they'd be fantastic miniatures that people are using in their current 40k armies. So the reason there's no replacement for War Master is I don't think they're ever going to do that again. They're not going to scale the game down again, because getting you to buy a collection of Team Titanic models to play a big game isn't as useful for a company as getting you just to buy more miniatures in a scale they already own. You're just talking about creating a new amount of stock that they'd have to carry, as opposed to just selling you more miniatures they already produce. So I think the reason you'll never see something like War Master come back in that scale is because you're talking about creating a whole new line of models in a whole new scale when you could just write a rule book that says here's a great way of playing with more miniatures. So the trend right now seems to be play with more models on a bigger table as opposed to the inverse, which was in the 90s, which was play with smaller models on the same size table. If that answers your question. All right, back to the chat for a minute, and we're almost done. We'll probably go for 90 minutes, so what I'll probably do is I'll be done with the Survey Monkey questions when I hit an hour in, and we'll just jump into the, Gully Dwarves. Yeah, the Jank Master, that's funny. We'll jump into the chat, and I'll just kind of free-for-all it for the last half hour, and we can chat with each other while I build models, and that'll be that. Okay? Hope that sounds good. Do you think they'll ever give a book of the regular human armed force in AOS to free people? Oh, God, I hope so. That's what I want to know more about. So the thing with Age of Sigmar that I really like is it's a cosmic fantasy. It's this, like, huge galactic, like there are many... it's the same reason I like the Gunslinger. There are more worlds than these. Like, that idea that, like, there's these realms all connected by doorways is a near and dear idea to me in fantasy. But that being said, I always like seeing a world from the perspective of its least people. You know what I mean? I think that's a very compelling way of looking at it. That's why the Eisenhorn trilogy in 40k worked so well, was you saw like the soft white underbelly of the Imperium. It wasn't the battlefields of the Imperium. You got to see it in a film noir detective sort of a way. So why would I like to see the free people and like the regular Joe humans in that system? Is for exactly that reason. I want to know what their lives are like. I want to know what it is to be like just an average human being living in the mortal realms, and how crazy that may or may not be. I think that's super compelling. That's an interesting... oh, coffee messed me up there. I think that's a super compelling way of experiencing the universe. And I think it'll give the universe, from the point of view of the people reading about it, more like gravitas, you know what I mean? Like you feel more connected to something if you can picture it from your point of view, and when you learn more about what the regular humans are doing in the mortal realms, we'll feel more connected to it. Does that make sense? That makes sense. Am I looking forward to Depth Titanicus? I am, but I am totally playing Depth Titanicus with nothing but my old 1980s Titans. I'm committing to that now. I have enough Titans and Knights and Baneblades and whatever that I will just play it with the current ones I have. I'm not going to go to 8mm or to 8mm, because I think this is going to be 8mm, not 10mm. Because I don't want to play it in that scale. Like, I like, and the other thing is I have terrain and miniatures already to play it in 6mm until the end of time. I probably have 20 unbuilt plastic Roller Titans on the sprue still. I really wanted to dig them out. What I'll probably do is get all the crusty, like, half-painted ones or ones that I got in bargain bins or whatever, and strip them down first and then use them before anything else. And build a bunch of terrain. I really want to like base and like make really nice all that styrofoam terrain that came in the old Titania set, and all the cardboard stuff too, and just play with that and do it like super old school. So what I'll probably end up doing is just buying the rulebook and then playing it that way. What do you think of Games Workshop's School Alliance program? Do you think we'll ever see anything like it here in North America? No, I don't think so. I know what the School Alliance program from the UK, and it was super successful, and good for them for doing it. But I don't think... The problem with North America, here's a big problem with North America, is it doesn't have a centralized education system the way the UK does. So you got 50 states, in the continental US, all that run schools differently. And there's some federal guidelines on how schools work, but you couldn't have a program that fit every single board in every single state the way that you can have a single program in the UK to fit everybody. So I love the idea. Logistically, I think that it wouldn't be able to be the same as what they do, because it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't be able to get... You'd have to contact every state individually and have them sign off, or have the local schools sign off, or whatever. So you might be able to do something simple, but you couldn't do a big program the way they do in the UK that's run as well as it is run in the UK. This is not a test. Did you ever see the old Fall tabletop game, Fall Warfare? Yeah, man, it came packaged with the discs. The old tabletop game, I even have the cardboard counters, I think, that were downloadable for it. I think I hear the pitter-patter of little feet. Cat, are you here? Katina, come here. Oh, yeah, okay, here we go. Hi. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Oh, this one just woke up. Whoa. Whoa.
Daddy, I got some peely bums.
Okay. All right. So we're going to pause, and I will be right back because we've definitely got a situation here. And we're back. Told you that was going to happen. So see, this is the challenge, right? You're doing stuff. You're trying to get yourself, ready to rock and roll. And then it's Project 2-year-old all of a sudden for a second. So, So, let's do some prize stuff. I have 2 things to give away. Like a gauge, a measuring gauge. And I also have an extra Masanugi Ito for Bushido. So if you're thinking about starting Bushido, you just want to check out the models and stuff like that, I have an extra one of this guy for the Ito clan. And I will happily send him to you or send you this gauge. All you have to do is say in the comments, or make sure you're subscribed because the thing won't pick you otherwise. Like this video and comment saying, give me that swag, and I'll pick 2 of you guys when this video is done to grab some free shit, and I'll mail it to you. I'll PM you, and you can PM me your addresses, and I'll send it to you. So we got about 23 minutes left in the video. Hope you guys enjoyed that. This is why this needed to be in your house. Yeah, no, she is adorable. She is adorable. Yep. Keeping her alive is what this is all about. And that's the thing, right? Like, when I did my previous career, I was on airplanes and traveling like 36 weeks a year. So, being able to like just be with my kid all day most of the week was something I never thought I was gonna get to do. So this is pretty super awesome. Hope you guys, and thank you guys for helping me do that and make that possible. No, not in the not in the chat, not in the comments, in the video comments. I can't pick you from the chat. Just stop exploding. Stop exploding the chat. Stop exploding the chat. Stop exploding the chat. Oh my god, you guys are the first. The chat will not. No one's getting anything from the chat, so do it in the comments. Like, subscribe, and do it in the comments, because the random picker thing only works for the comments, not for the chat. Oh my god, you're killing me. You're killing me. Everyone is killing me. Just stop. Oh god, I wish the lag. It's not the way it is. Ask some questions. Stop putting it in the chat. Just ask me some questions. I have a question on Malifaux. Are there certain crews that are easy to learn for you against others? So Malifaux's interesting. Malifaux is a game which has become more complex as it got older. And there's a real trend in Malifaux that the older a master is, the simpler he is to use. So if you look at the original first edition Malifaux masters, they all tended to do one thing really well. So if you look at Perdita, for instance, she shoots really well. If you look at Lady Justice, she melees really well. If you look at what's her name, Sonya Craig, she's a great caster, right? She does great casting actions. And they're nice and simple. All of the builds, Nicodemus raises guys really, really well. And so all the original ones, all the original masters in that game are relatively easy to learn because you and your crew are focused on doing a single thing typically, or supporting a model doing a single thing. Lilith for the Neverborn is super easy to use. It's funny because just recently, I think for the first time, they made it so that Zoraida, who is a Mark 1 caster, can actually do the thing that she was designed to do in Mark 1, which was voodoo dolling people and then stacking conditions on them. But it took adding another unit to do that, which was the Will-o'-the-Wisps. So if you want to learn how to play Malifaux, my suggestion is pick an older caster, and you'll probably have to ask somebody to figure out which ones those are. But the older masters tend to be more forgiving to learn because there's not a lot of complicated order of operation stuff in learning how to use them. You just need to pick a style like melee shooting or casting or whatever that you like, and then play it that way. So you won't have to have this steep learning curve because they're going to typically do one thing really, really well and be fairly forgiving because they do that one thing really, really well. What else? You can post comments when the video's over, Rob. When the video's over and it's actually just posted online, people can just watch it. The comment section will be open. That's why I waited until now to say that, because I knew people would just explode. And I said comments and the chat just went insane. Oh my god, I have to learn. I need to learn to preface that next time I do one of these with don't try and do it now, because the chat literally the chat just instantly became, it was too fast to read. It was just give me that swag. It was ridiculous. Mike P, any thoughts on the Modifius Fallout game coming out? It's funny. I'm super excited for it. Here's the thing with me in miniature games. If a miniature game isn't out and available to the public and in retail, I don't even think about it because it's not real yet. A lot of people, I think it's people mostly who don't get to do a lot of in real life miniature gaming. They tend to be really excited about things coming out. I think I actually call it the 40K effect, because that is the whole reason that 40K news and rumor sites and stuff exist, I think, is to feed the brains of people that don't actually play 40K very much. But they love the idea of 40K and they like feeling like they're in the know for 40K, and so they're always hungry for news. I'm excited for the fall game. I'm super stoked for it. The renders look really cool, but it's not real. It's not real until there's a box set of models in my hand that I'm playing. And so I'm excited it comes out. I know it's there. I know to keep tabs on hey, look, something's gonna come out, or I get a release date or something. But I don't even think about it. I don't want to know. I don't want to be involved. I don't want to it until it's something that's real and I can actually play it. I don't even think about it because there's so much out there that is real that I am playing that I don't even have the brain power for it. I don't think. I'm just old. Owen smiled in the video that you put up today. No, he can't smile. He's not able to smile. If he did, then it was probably just a small stroke or something. What else? Have you tried Saga? If you go back Nerdhead 1983 to the beginning of this video, I actually talk about Saga and my Yorm's Viking army that I have not painted for like 5 years. And just the way that I usually end up doing things. We were talking about muskets, tomahawks, and I brought up Saga. What else? Any plans or time frame for Bold Action Comic 47? I actually talked about that at the beginning of this video too, if you go back. What's my favorite thing about Shadow Armageddon? That's a good question. Okay, so there's two things that I really like about Shadow Armageddon. One of them is probably not going to be popular with you guys, but it's because I'm a businessman in this industry before I'm any kind of sitting here talking to you guys on YouTube person. And it's that it is a super smart plan to sell miniatures. It gives me the excuse as a hobbyist, and actually I do like it as a hobbyist too. It's a reason I like both as a business person and as a hobbyist. It's the fact that it gives me a reason to buy the box of miniatures that I've always been hemming and hawing about buying, but I didn't want to build a 40k army for. Like 40k armies to me at this point in my like hobby journey, it's just too much. Like I don't want to build and paint a million models. I don't want to collect everything. I just want to build the models that I'm excited about building and painting, but still get the satisfaction of like actually playing them. And so that is super smart design. All the team lists for the most part, outside of the special ops when you hire those guys in, because they're separate boxes usually, are built around a core box that you can just go and buy. So like I got to buy the Genestealer Hybrid box that I've been wanting to buy since it came out basically, but I was just like, I don't really play 40k. So like I'm not gonna buy this one box, and I'm not super excited about Deathwatch Overkill, so I'm probably not gonna buy that box either. But I do like these models a lot, so I got to go buy them because I can just bang them together into current play game. So that was super exciting. What else? The other thing I really like about the game is that it has an end. The biggest problem with Warband games, and you'll see this like every year when we kind of kick the year over in January and we start new Warbands, is there's never an end to like a Mordheim campaign. Like all of my old Mordheim gangs never had like some dramatic send-off. They just disappear and get replaced with new ones, right? So like while I love playing those Warband games, you don't ever get to end them. You know what I mean? There's never like a climactic finish to any of those stories. And so I like the idea that Shadow War Armageddon works really well with two people just playing each other and playing about 10 games, and then one side wins, the other side loses. I think it's smart game design to have there be some satisfaction and some closure to the narrative. And we found playing it like after about 10 games. So I think I've played 7 or 8 games probably at this point with our Guard and Night Lords in that little series. We're pretty much capped out. Like there's nothing really we can buy anymore. Like we can, at this point, all we're doing is re-equipping guys, replacing casualties maybe, although casualties are pretty few and far between in that game. And just saving up to get to the Promethean level to win. So like there isn't, because they didn't put in a trading post, they didn't put any like dynamic advancement in with experience points, where it's just you get an advance every time. There's not the same level of like, I guess the term is, risk to how you run your warbands, and everybody's just kind of like done after 10 games. Like there wouldn't be a reason to keep going to just see how high you can get that ganger to get. You just stop eventually. Yeah, but those two things I really like about it. I like that there's some closure. I like that it's basically Necromunda Light, but with like way more model options, and I can play with whatever I want. I like it. Chris Bella put, who's the elf that disliked this video, when it was probably him who did it. Good cover, buddy. That was the guy in the room that farted asking who farted. Metal King, talk about a good ends. I was walking through thinking about making a specific campaign module, but generally what's good closure to Warband games. Besides Heroic Death, I think the best we've ever ended a series with Warband games would be, you should pick up Frostgrave. I think it's Rise of the Lich Lord, something Lich Lord. I can't remember what it is of the Lich Lord. The Lich Lord campaign, because it ends with like a climactic showdown, and we sent off most of our characters. Like Hrothgar escaped, Red died, not from falling. She actually survived the fall when the castle fell to the sky. But then I think she tried to achieve lichdom, and it just didn't happen. And then Owen's mouse guy was super beat up, and I don't remember what happened to him. But like, it felt right. You know what I mean? It felt right that we all had to band together to fight a big boss at the end, and then got like super messed up at the end, and there was a big dramatic, like, there was, what you want is you want the Magnificent Seven. You want the end of the Magnificent Seven, where there's like this coming together and all this like sort of like creation of story, but then there's this dramatic end where some people live, some people die, there's a big bad that gets defeated, you know, there's some gravitas to it. So I don't think you have to state that ends the campaign, but I think if you put in the foreword for a campaign that you write something like, this is a great way for experienced warbands to round out a campaign. Here's 5 linked stories, and in the end, there's a big showdown or something like climactic, like world-ending portal opens, and you're all trying to stop Cthulhu from coming out, or whatever it is. You don't have to tell them that ends the campaign, but you can write a campaign for the purpose of, hey, you guys have been playing it for quite a while, and you're looking for a good like sort of like satisfying finish to what you're doing. Here's that satisfying finish. That would be my, if I was looking from a writing point of view, that's what I would do. So in Workshop's example with Shadow War, it's a very delineated, like the campaign just ends. But when you're writing a module, think of it like D&D. Is a D&D session ever over? No. Campaign games are like that. But you do want some satisfaction in what you're doing. And you can even write at the end of the scenario, like, that if you wanted to write a campaign ending scenario, you could just say, like, they all disband at the end of this. Like, you know, like the person that goes up and touches the Heartstone to try and close the portal dies if they succeed. Like, you can literally write into your scenario the death of characters. You know what I mean? Like, this person has to do X or Y to accomplish their objective, but in doing so, they automatically count as being killed at the end. That can end a campaign. You know what I mean? That can be a really satisfying way of like sacrificing yourself to end a campaign, like however it works. And the reward can be really big for the survivors, or there can be no reward. You just do it for the sake of doing it. So I think those are right off things. Oh, there's my cat. There it is. This is my cat. That thing right there, that Himalayan thing right there, that thing has been to more countries than most of you probably. He's almost 10 now, and he looks like an extra from the Muppet Show. He's very furry. Follow Lord. Thanks, Dickle. Dicky. Look at my screen way too far away. Let's take one more. I got 10 minutes left. Let's take a couple more questions. I've looked at the Hinterland rules for Age more. They look super cool. I wrote my own, though, which were simpler and like a little more fluid, and I'm just waiting for the official ones to come out now. What about the Hateful Eight where everyone dies? I don't know what that means is a question. Do they die, though? You don't know. You don't know if they die. You think they do. Hey, Ash, you going to do a Path to Glory campaign for Age of 40K? I think if the new 40K comes out, I think I would do a Path to Glory, because I really like highlighting things. Because here's what's going to happen. New 40K is going to come out, and every channel on Earth is going to focus on the Battleforged, like whatever they assume the tournament official way of playing is going to be. And I don't care about that, because I'm not going to go ever play in a 40K tournament. So I think what I'll probably focus on is either the command point driven one, where like you have slots instead of points, and the Path to Glory stuff. You're more likely to see that from me on my channel to be something I'm excited about, because it means I can paint a little bit as I go, like it's in more manageable chunks, and you guys still get something that's like fairly satisfying to watch. So I think that's, if I was to bet, I think that's probably where I'm going to go to show that stuff off. Just pointing out, you're banging on the desk with your handle. It gives a thump sound, very annoying. My handle. Oh, it's when I put down my tools. Sorry about that. Headley, how can I do more Infinity? You get Infinity every other week. I'm not going to do anything weekly. There is no time to do anything weekly. Dan the Uncouth Barbarian, any more Warzone Pat Respond? I just filmed one this weekend, actually. I just filmed one against Cybertronic. I just filmed some Warzone this past weekend against my buddy Ben, and he loved it. He was super stoked about that, so there's more coming out. What do you think about anything? It's Christian. Hey, Christian. How you doing, man? Good to see you too, buddy. It's been since, when did I see you last? Probably 2014, I think. I went to Astronomicon. That was a long time ago. What else? Path to Glory and AOS is my favorite way to play. Yeah, for sure. I like anything that's relatively narrative but gives you like the basic framework for balance. And we played the original Path to Glory to death at the Eaton Center Games Workshop store in like 2000, 2001. I can't believe that's like 17 years ago. That's so long ago now. Congrats on the followers. Any chance of more broken contracts? Eagerly waiting on the Kickstarter. Yep, I'm definitely gonna be doing more broken contract. Jay and I have plans to do some more of the the scenarios when Nick finalizes his rulebook and we get like the whatever when I record more of it, I'll be stoked to do whatever it is the Kickstarter backers get. That's what I want to be recording because that way it's something that's familiar to them. You know what I mean? Like when you look at it on the channel, it's like it does what it says in the tin. You know, you're seeing what the actual like rules are going to be. What'd you think of Warlord's game Test of Honor? I'm majorly stoked for it. I'm actually stoked for it too. The problem is the North American website for Warlord has been sold out of Test of Honor starter sets because I've been meaning to order one. But they've been sold out of starter sets for that game like since it came out. And I have no way of getting one. And I can download the PDF of the rules, but there's no way to get all the cards and counters and everything outside of that starter set. Like I've looked. I've seriously been looking because I just did all that terrain for Bushido, and it means that I already have a Test of Honor table basically. I can just paint some samurais and go. And it looks about the right scale for like a game I like because it looks like it's maybe like 15 to 20 guys. So like unless you like take like tons of Ashigaru and you have like a 30-man team, you're not paying tons and tons of dudes. And I really like the Ronin. I want to do the Ronin because I would just do the 7 Samurai, which would be awesome. What else? Let's just see. It takes 700 boulder shots to kill a Gorkonite. Yeah. I want to come out of a game. Christopher Mini Wargaming. Well, I don't know. You can always go play Christopher Mini Wargaming, I guess, if you can schedule games with him. Want to come out and have a game? I mean, sure. We're 15 minutes from each other. Chris is in Welland, and I'm in St. Catharines. So if you're in town to play Chris, then just shoot me a note through my Facebook page, and we'll set up a game. Have I checked out Dark Souls? No, but I got an email from Jamie at Steamforge. They're sending a copy of the Dark Souls board game for us to check out, which I'm stoked about. So we will get to check that out in the future. I don't know when the stuff goes to the backers, but I'll have a Let's Play for Dark Souls because I really like the aesthetic and the art and stuff like that, and it looks super duper neat. What else? Test of Honor plays great, and the games are pretty quick. Yeah, no, I'm stoked about that. More, dude, I'll play more Dead Zone. The big thing with Dead Zone was it got subsumed in Kings of War, and then in just other projects. We have everything to play Dead Zone. Owen has his Force Paint, I have my Force Paint. It just came down to recording more of it. We see more Batman content. I would love to do more Batman content, but like, I did the Let's Play. I recorded a couple games. Local guys were excited about it and playing it. They did some like learning game stuff at Lords of War, and then nobody came to play it. Like people kept saying like, "Hey, I want to set up a game," or "Hey, I want to come play," and then I just never heard back from them. So like, I can make no bricks without clay. I do my best too, but yeah, no, like it's just one of those ones where there's not huge, I guess, interest in doing it right now. Are there any games that I'm not interested in playing? We talked about, I'm not super into the idea of, like, it's not the game. I think it's the visual aspects and the immersion of, what's it called? Rune Wars? I'm just not into. Like, it's too busy. There's too much stuff on the table and stuff going on. It looks like X-Wing, sort of, with all the dials and the counters and the command cards and stuff. And I'm just, didn't do it for me. What else? That's really, I can't think of anything I'm not excited to play. Like I love trying new games, right? So I think the thing for me is there's the type of game I like, which is I like games I can play on a kitchen table. I love the sort of like 10 to 15 model range game. And so when I look at games, if they're in that model range and they play on a relatively small size table and I can already like envision myself building terrain, building models for it, I'll be jazzed about it. Whereas if it's a big, huge project, then I'm already like trying to think in my head what I'm gonna not do to do that. Right? Like what am I cutting out to make this possible? And so that's where I start to get not excited about a game. So like I can't, like it's funny because I'm not as excited about 40K as probably most people are, because one, I've played so many editions of 40K, but I'm just like, okay, it's not going to change. Like okay, everyone's saying the game has changed dynamically. I'm still going to put probably the same number of Space Marines on a table and move them around, and they'll remove each other at the same rate. Like I play so many miniature games that like, I think what happens is when you play 40K, you probably just play 40K initially, or you play like a Games Workshop game, you just play a Games Workshop game initially. You don't really know there's a lot of miniature games out there. And so when that game changes and you don't know there's anything else, that's like a big change for you. Whereas if you play the 50, 60, 70 different miniature games in a year that I play, then for rules to change a little bit, like they're not big changes. And you have played them for almost 30 years. I look at them and I just go, yeah, it's still Space Marines. They're still fighting orcs. Like, yeah, and the map changed a little bit. There's more warp storms. Like, it's not going to mean there's not chaos gods, not orcs. Like, it's going to be the same thing. Yeah, it's just, I think this is more what people felt like when it went from 2nd to 3rd edition 40k, except now there's an internet. So there's more sort of like backlash and crazy like talking about it and discussion. And that's really it. What else? I'll fly out to Oz and play Shadow War Shot-Ageddon. Take a shot every time someone's pinned or down. Then you drink with someone's out of action. Let's go. That sounds like Aussie rules Shadow War Armageddon. I'm old, man. Like I get wrecked now if I go to bed after midnight. Like I can't drink like that anymore. Definitely planning on going to Canada just to visit and play. Just need to work out timing and I'll be in touch. Cool. Yeah, well, honestly, for any of you guys who want to play a game, I play them as far as you guys want for the most part. Shoot me a message to my Facebook page and we'll figure it out. Sort it out. I got lots of guys coming over the summer from out of town. Would you play Old Fallout Tabletop on a Throwback Thursday? Maybe. I mean, the biggest thing would be like, we already have everything to do it because we have tons of miniatures that are already ready for Fallout because we did Fallout for This Is Not a Test. It would more just be a matter of like, it would be like a novelty. Like I would totally do it. I would maybe do it as a novelty, like when the new edition of this Fallout Wasteland Warfare comes out. Then maybe I would do it just as like a counterpoint to be like, check out this crazy thing that existed that was literally like an insert into a PC game in like the late 90s. Like back when that was how you discovered miniature games. That would be like when I would do it, but I wouldn't just do it randomly because like it's so niche that people would just look at it and be like, what is this? Like, not that it's not cool, but it's more interesting if it's timed with something that's making people think about that franchise again. As far as new games are concerned, is it rules or minis that catch your attention the most? It's never rules. Like I'll learn the rules for anything. It's almost always minis. There's that. You'll hear me if you've ever listened to one of these before. You've heard me talk about that old Jervis Johnson White Dwarf article called the Hobby Pie, where like everybody's sort of like interests are divided into a pie chart, and there's like different categories like painting and modeling, collecting, just like owning things and having them, the background and like the stories behind what you're doing, the rules and like and physically playing the game, and then like the community aspect of like being with people and like having friends do the same thing and spending time with them. Those 5 things, the makeup of those is different for everybody. And for me, it's probably collecting, building, and painting are probably 60 or 70%. The community part's probably 10%. The background's probably actually only like 5%. Because like that's interesting to me so much as like it populates what the physical miniatures look like. But I love the physical look of things more than I love like the story behind them and stuff. And then the gameplay and stuff is just, it's only relevant in so much as it's an excuse to get together with friends and hang out, right? So like, I think a lot of the positivity that you guys see in my videos and what I do comes from the fact that I'm hanging out with my friends. Like you were getting to come and hang out with me and my friends who would be doing this anyway, right? Like we would be getting together. This is the same thing we'd be getting together to go and do anyway. We just happen to have a camera with us and you're watching us do it. And so it isn't forced. It's not scripted. It's not natural. You're just getting to see us as we are doing that stuff. So yeah. Well, that's it. I think we're done. Hit 90 minutes. We're at 3:30, so from 2 o'clock. And we only got interrupted once, which was good. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed doing it more than I thought I would. That was cool. It was cool to be able to look down and see the chat and actually like see you guys talking to me and talk back and be a little more interactive. So the plan is we're going to do this twice a month. So I've done this on, oh geez, what day of the week is it? What day is it? So we've done this on a Monday. Oh, maybe I'll keep it on Mondays. It's probably easier to keep it on Mondays because that way I can do one at the beginning of the month and one in the middle of the month. So I'll probably do them on Mondays. I'll probably do the next one at the beginning of June. And then I'll do a Patreon one somewhere in the middle of the month here. But I will do another one this weekend, at least one, probably more than one. I'll do more live shows this weekend when I'm at Cool Media Expo, and I'm going to drag some people into it so you guys can chat with hopefully Brian and Chris, Brian Brian, Chris. Who's Chris? It's because Chris is in the chat right now. I literally just saw him say "see you later, sweeties." I looked down. Brian and Dave from Cool Mean or Not, so you guys can see some extra, just some insider stuff from that. But like, I'm not gonna do like, you're not gonna see me like standing in the con like pointing a camera at somebody. It'll probably be in my hotel room just chatting with people. So we'll make that happen too. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will do this again soon. So stay posted to my Facebook page. And like I said, when this turns off, go into the comments and you guys can do your give me that swag, and I'll select some people to get some free stuff. So yeah, so it is. That was this piece of Ash live, and we're gonna do Piece of Ash live in the future. So until we do the next one, I'll see you guys soon. Until then, I'm Ash. Have a good night.